Hello, all sentient beings, and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, guest stars galore. With Yoshi, Jeremy, and Daryl slacking off at TFCon, Big C puts together an all-star replacement cast. Charlie and his angels review Unicron number 5, talk updates to the Transformers trading card game, and wax poetic on Bumblebee movie merchandise. Today is Friday, November 2nd, 2018, and this is episode 101, can you believe it, of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to the all-new, all-different Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that believes change is good for Transformers and podcasts alike. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Amy, aka Lady Rec, queen of the Underbase podcast.
Woohoo!
D-Palm, Transformers expert from the MTR network.
Woohoo!
Very carefully.
And noted podvocate, Jason Kirk.
It is with great honor that I say unto everyone, let's talk Transformers.
Woohoo! That's
right.
Awesome. That was a good one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, so this is Alt Mode episode 101, and we've got a few changes. So this is not permanent. So your regular crew will be back next week, but since they all decided to ditch me and go to TFCon Chicago, I brought in some all-stars to help me out with Transmissions Alt Mode, and we're going to talk comics and media. So thank you to Amy, D-Palm, and Jason for joining us, or joining me today.
Absolutely.
Definitely my pleasure.
100% pleasure.
Thank you. So why don't we, for those who don't know you've all been on the show before, but for those who don't remember, let's give a quick introduction. So Amy, where do people remember you from?
Well, I used to run the Underbase, which seems like forever ago, but not too far gone. But I did that for about 5 years, and I went to lots of conventions, and it was just I had a blast. Met lots of people, and now I just guest host every once in a while.
We're still crossing our fingers for a return of the Underbase at some point.
Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers too, but my kids keep on wrecking my life, so not that that's a bad thing, but just that they just keep me so busy. I just don't have any time.
Yeah.
At least not consistent time. If I did, we'll see. I keep crossing my fingers too, so.
And D-Palm from the MTR network. How you doing?
Good. You guys will know me from, like you said, I've guested here once, but I cover Transformers way too much over at MTR. I am a editor over there where I record our Super Tuesday recap podcast where we recap all that CW nerd programming. I also host the Character Corner podcast where we have interviews and deep dives on your favorite comic book characters. And for the non-comic inclined, I also host Unanimous Decision Podcast, our sports show that comes out every week. Found everywhere that podcasts are given away for absolutely free, or on Spotify now.
Awesome. And yeah, the Super Tuesday podcast, I look forward to those increase my enjoyment of the Flash in particular. I love when you and Chris break down the Flash. And last year, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that was also
coming back this summer, and we have a lot of fun with that one because anyone who's listened to more than 5 minutes of our shows knows that I'm a Marvel fanboy, and I know way too much about the things that I watch.
All right, and Jason, you've been on the show. I think you've been on the show probably the most out of the three of you guys here.
Yeah, probably. I think at one point I was tied with Vangelis for a bunch of appearances too, but I think I've actually him and I might still be tied because he keeps doing what are the Patreon exclusive ones?
Declassified.
See, this is a thing I do, people. I forget words. It happens frequently. So I think him and I are kind of neck and neck in that. But yeah, obviously you've heard me on here before. Always a pleasure to fill in when the guys need me to. You can hear me Wednesdays on Radio Free Cybertron. And whenever we do a There Goes My Money, I'm usually there with Diecast doing that.
Nice.
And I actually had a show where I used to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a lot, but we switched gears a little bit. So Povixy is still a thing, but now we do a show where I, as a Star Trek fan, and my co-host is a wrestling fan. We give each other, I gave him an episode of Star Trek. He gives me a wrestling match or show. And then we come together at the end and we talk about our questions about it, which there can be a lot of questions about those kinds of things. So it's a lot of fun. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I know, Deepalm, you're a wrestling fan, too. Are you also a Star Trek fan?
Trek fan, but we cover a lot of the shows and movies on our network. Not by me, but by many of our other contributors.
Okay.
Cool.
And Jason,
well,
is you.
I was going to say, if you're not a not Transformers, I meant to say Star Trek fan. I was like, oh man.
I only have so many corners of nerdom, and I feel like once I meld pro wrestling and Star Trek, I'm just too far gone.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
True. Only have so many brain cells to go around.
It's a very limited amount.
And Jason, is the Willy Wonka Everlasting Minute podcast still going on? Is that
actually no? We concluded that about the. It's funny because I think we started it like right around my last appearance, and now I'm back on. It only took like 4 months to get through the movie, but yeah, we did a minute by minute dissection of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's called Everlasting Minute, and it was a blast to do. If you like that movie,
nice.
And I don't annoy the hell out of you tonight listening to me, then I highly recommend you. Or even if I do annoy you, my co-host David is like 10 times better than I am, so maybe you'll like him. But yeah, everlastingminute.com. That was a blast. I'm really glad we did that. So thanks for bringing that up. I almost forgot.
Cool. I haven't checked that. I'll have to check that out. Is that for the original show or?
Oh, and yeah, the original movie for sure. We're not touching that. Not
other
touching
thing.
that other stuff.
That other thing that says it's Willy Wonka. Yeah.
Exactly.
And Jeremy is probably yelling at me to mention the Paladins of Voltron.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing we did. Or do. I don't know.
But you guys should get back to that.
I know, we should. Maybe we can commit to something. I don't know. We got to work it out.
All right. Enough about you guys. We're here to talk about Transformers. First, I also got to give a shout out to our donations, the people, our donatrions, the people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. These are the folks who keep transmissions going. And this weekend at TFCon, we had a new donor, Cheesy Patty.
Woohoo.
And he went to TFCon, met up with Jeremy, Daryl, and Yoshi at TFCon. And he wanted to have fun with they did a Patreon meetup there. And so he wanted to get in. So he kicked in a couple of bucks to PayPal for transmission. So
Sweet.
Thanks, Cheesy Patty. And hope you enjoyed TFCon with the guys. And all right. So let's start off and get into some comics news. Just a little bit of news this week. The first, it wouldn't be IDW if books weren't delayed. So we talked last week about both Optimus Prime and Unicron, the final issues getting delayed to November. And we were hopeful that Lost Light would still make it out in October. There was one more Wednesday in October. They didn't make it. So Lost Light got pushed back again to November 7th. We're hopeful that it will be out on November 7th. So we'll hopefully be able to give you a review of Lost Light 25 next week. So it's been a wild ride for Lost Light, for all the IDW Transformers comics, and they're all coming to a close. There's mixed feelings, but I am looking forward to that final issue of Lost Light. I hope it ends on a high note.
It'll probably make me cry.
Same here.
The last one did. I didn't expect it to. I opened 2 pages in, boom. I was like, no, it's happening already. Yeah.
Yeah.
Over the littlest things, you'd be surprised. Some random thing. Oh, I get it. Yeah. Life is crazy.
Yeah. It's definitely bittersweet.
A lot of bitter. Some sweet.
That's all the comics news, but let's move on to our Transformers comic review. And this week we are doing Unicron number 5. So this is the penultimate issue in the Unicron saga, closing out the IDW universe. This is really the start of the final battle. It's things are coming to a close. Lots of people are dying, and probably going to be a few more deaths before this one ends. So, Unicron number 5's written by John Barber, art by Alex Milne, colors by David Garcia Cruz, letters by Tom B. Long, editor David Marriott, and publisher Greg Goldstein. So we've got 4 covers. Cover A is by Alex Milne and Josh Perez. This is Star Drive and Bumblebee saving a bunch of people on Earth as Unicron's minions descend and attack. We've got cover B by James Reyes and colors by David Garcia Cruz. And this is the giant connecting cover of all the IDW Hasbro Universe characters. So this one features Rom up front, and then behind him we've got Snarl and Slag. Way back in the background, Star Drive, Trypticon's back there too. We got the Visionaries down there, one of the Visionaries. So lots of characters there. The retailer incentive cover A is by Fico Asio. And that's Optimus Prime about to get sucked up into Unicron. And then we've got BlackRock there in the corner. And retailer incentive cover B by Francesco Francavilla. And that is Soundwave, looking pretty badass. Soundwave out in space, hovering above Unicron. So 4 covers to choose from. Deepa, I'm going to start with you. Which cover do you like the best out of these 4?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Alex Milne's art, and so the line work I think is really clean on cover A, but cover B because I'm putting together all these covers because I have a problem.
I understand. I understand and sympathize. All right, Amy, which cover are you picking?
They're all really great, but I think I'm going to go with the Alex Milne one because, yeah, I like me some Star Drive.
Yeah, she's become a favorite since the Rom versus Transformers miniseries last year. She don't
take crap, man. She's like, Bumblebee talks to her, she's like, be quiet. I was like, whoa, man. She's all business. It's all good.
And Jason, which cover do you like?
Well, I agree with Deepalm and Amy. The covers are all really, really good. I do like them all, but only a few issues left in the whole thing. I don't know how much more Milne we're getting. God, I hope we get more, but who knows? Since we have no idea what's going on later, I'm taking Milne's cover hands down. It's really, really nice.
Cool. I am going to agree with the majority and also pick the Alex Milne cover. I am a fan of Alex Milne's art as well, and this is a really good scene. Also, I like shout out to Strong Arm from Robots in Disguise way back in the background there.
Oh yeah,
yep,
that's cool.
So
there's so many layers to this. It's just like, oh, I love it.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the story, and then we'll talk about our thoughts on the issue. The final battle has begun. On Earth, Shockwave continues his destruction of the city of Toronto as he consolidates his power. But he's slightly concerned that Unicron has followed him to Earth and wasn't destroyed by the Talisman on Cybertron. Despite this hiccup in his plans, he can still use his Titan ship, the Nemesis, which is currently embedded in Unicron's skull as his eye, to locate the Talisman on Earth and use it to destroy Unicron. Once Unicron is gone, Shockwave and his Maximal army will rule what's left of the galaxy. Elsewhere, all the heroes and villains are finally teaming up to try and stop Unicron from making Earth his next meal. At Mount Rushmore, Scarlet assembles G.I. Joe, Cobra, the Dinobots, and the Revolutionaries. Joining the party are Decepticons Soundwave and Swift, Autobot Ironhide, and Soulstar Knights Rom and Livia. Livia is surprised to detect that some of the humans are actually dire wraiths in disguise, but even this hatred must be put aside for now to fight the Planet Killer. In Africa, Prowl's team joins Optimus Prime, Windblade, Jetfire, Starscream, RC, Aileron, and all the other Cybertronians, colonists, and Elonians sheltering in Metroplex. Prowl delivers more intel to Jetfire on Unicron's activity, and Jetfire thinks he's figured it out. Unicron was originally the planet Antilla that orbited a black hole at the center of the galaxy. After the world was attacked by ancient Cybertronian armies, an Antillan scientist activated a doomsday device that turned the planet into the monster we know as Unicron. It consumed the black hole first, and that created its unending hunger. Not only does Unicron devour the Cybertronian colony worlds to increase its physical mass, it also consumes all the stars in the galaxy via quantum tunneling to feed the black hole, causing even more damage to the rest of the universe. But the plan is still clear. They've got to deliver the talisman to the heart of Unicron in order to destroy it. Back in Toronto, Shockwave has found that the talisman is inside Metroplex City. He's mildly annoyed that Windblade has thwarted his original plan, but Shockwave's got things in control. He contacts his servant Bludgeon to have the Maximals attack Metroplex and retrieve the talisman so they can use it to destroy Unicron. But Bludgeon has other plans. He doesn't serve Shockwave now. Maybe he never did. Bludgeon has gone completely bonkers and serves Unicron as a force of ultimate destruction. He orders the Maximals to attack Metroplex, but only so that he can prevent the talisman from being used to destroy Unicron. Outside Metroplex, Optimus Prime's moment of quiet reflection before the storm is interrupted as the Maximal army approaches. But Metroplex is not undefended. The human Air Force, led by G.I. Joe and the Chinese mecha jets, arrive to intercept the attacking Maximals. The air battle is fierce and many are lost on both sides. But the Maximals ultimately get through and continue to advance on the city. However, before the Maximals can attack, Metroplex activates its space bridge and disappears. At Mount Rushmore, Thundercracker arrives to take his part in the final battle. Before he flies off, he gives his beloved dog Buster to his friend Marissa Fairborn for safekeeping. He asks Marissa to take care of Buster if he doesn't come back. In Toronto, other G.I. Joe and Cobra forces led by Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow attack the Maximals. Just as they are about to be overwhelmed, Prowl and Stardrive arrive to join the fight. While Stardrive keeps the Maximals busy, Prowl heads for Shockwave's Tower Fortress to take him out. In space, Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker are together again. Thundercracker is carrying the talisman while they hope to punch through the Maximal army and deliver the payload to Unicron. Bludgeon can't believe they think the three Seeker Jets have any hope of getting through, and casually orders the Combiner monster Monstructor to destroy them. But just as they move to attack, Metroplex and Trypticon teleport in front of them, giving the Seekers the cover they need. Inside both city bots, the combined forces of Cybertronians, humans, and Soulstar Knights pour out to attack. Bludgeon is overwhelmed by this reversal of fortune. The three Seeker Jets' path is clear, and they've got a clean shot at Unicron's core. And it's not just the talisman they've got carried by Thundercracker. Optimus Prime has hitched a ride with Starscream, while RC is being carried by Skywarp. As they enter Unicron, Optimus Prime vows that this will be the end. One way or another. To be continued in the final issue of Unicron.
Woohoo! There you go.
So, Amy, I want let's start with you. So, if you could give your thoughts on this issue and then your thoughts on the whole Unicron series so far, and your impression.
Oh, geez, it's a wild ride. I mean, like every issue seems like it's packed with stuff. I mean, John is just on his game. He knows what he's doing. I have a lot of emotions. Let's just say that. I'm like, I know where we're going, and we're just like, I still want to have that little hope. The hope that, like, well, everybody's going to come out all right, right? It's like, yeah. So I'm like, who am I kidding? I know this is going to end badly, but it's just like, I just don't want it to end. It's like every page I turn, okay, who's going to die next? But yeah, there's some really good moments in this. I've really been really happy with it. Just when I think that, okay, I know this seems to be logically doing the next thing, and then, he just finds a way to surprise me every single time I turn a page. So I'm like going, okay, cool. All right. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I'm glad that Shockwave, his plan has gone awry. But that also could be there to their detriment, because obviously he was not expecting that he was going to have two wild cards that, Windblade, thwarting, and then Bludgeon. I was like, oh, hell yeah, you didn't see that one coming, did you? Oh my gosh, that was really good. So I was pretty happy with that. Geez. As a whole, does it have to end?
At this point, I don't think there's anything that can stop it.
I know, but still, it's just like, hey, wouldn't this be really great if we got to the end of this and said, haha, guess what? It's not finished. We just said that because we wanted to take a break, And I'd be like, you guys. You know, that's what I kind of crossing my fingers for. I know that that's probably not what's going to happen, but I'm like, yeah, I'm like, all right with that. I know there are some people out there that really they're looking forward to the reboot. And I'm like going, yes, but I have so much sentiment in a lot of the stuff that, you know, because I've been following it really closely. Up until the last year, I've been really on board and watching things very closely and I kind of slacked off a little bit. I'm a slacker. It's my fault. They're ending it because I slacked off, right? But yeah, and I have a lot of, I love a lot of the stuff that I'm too emotionally attached to fictional characters. So, watching it slowly grind down, I'm like, no. I'm going to go out with a bang. All right, if you go out with a bang, wreck and roll style, I'd be like, all right. I'll accept that. No,
there were some pretty big events here in this issue. It looks like things are ramping up here.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell. I mean, I'm glad that they took the page where you had Optimus Prime have his like quiet moment just before the storm. That was really well placed. I thought, okay, all right, that's good place. Yeah. Having that moment was good. I don't want to take all of the really good highlights. I'm sure other people will pick out other things, but just every little thing that they did was just really cool to see. And not only that is that they've got so many characters that are coming into play, you know, like different, you know, groups of, you know, we got the group in Africa, they have the group in Toronto that are going after Shockwave, and then we have the group at Rushmore, and I'm like going, you know, it's really cool to see them group all of the groups together. So I'm like, I'm following it just fine. You see lots of different characters, and there are those that take the spotlight, but it's like it's working for me. Art wise, I thought that Alex is like so on his game. He's just going to pack everything in here that he possibly can. And for the most part, it really does read well. So, I mean, when I was there was a review that I read when it first kicked off. There was somebody saying there was too much going on. I'm like, no, this is Unicron, everything. And it's an event. It's supposed to be that way. So, been fine with it. I haven't had a problem with keeping track of what's going on. I've been really impressed with how he handles pulling in a planet-sized villain and all of the other pieces that come with it. Like, you know, so you've got little characters that are up against him, and then they have the fight and all of that. It just depends on how you do it. And I think Alex has been really logical about placement and how it reads in each of the panels. So I've not had a problem with that. So it's fantastic. I think it's just great. And Alex is like, you know, hitting this like a pro because he's been doing this for a very long time. So yeah, it's great. I love it. Yep. That's me.
All right. Jason, what are your thoughts?
I am absolutely amazed that John and Alex are able to squeeze so much action in this book. And just like Amy was saying, like, it does not feel crowded at all. It's almost perfectly paced, I'd say, too. I mean, the only really slow parts we get that nice moment between Prime and RC, and that lasts a page. And then we get where they're kind of devising their plan, and Jetstorm's going over, you know, the actual background, what powers Unicron. And other than that, it's all like just balls to the wall action, and it's so incredibly well done. Also, I like how everything with Unicron being attached to the black holes, like that is such good sci-fi, and we're getting it, you know, here at the end with this book, which is another nice aspect of it. I also like how Starscream happens to mention that someone connected to a black hole. Interesting. He's witnessed that before, which is always a nice little callback too. And yeah, the art is, I mean, Alex is just, I know the poor man's hands are killing him, and I almost feel bad I'm enjoying it so much because I feel like I'm contributing to his pain, but it is just, he does such a great job. In lesser artist hands, yes, a lot of this would look crowded, but in this book especially, like nothing at all everything just looks great. And just the fact you can pick out individual characters, like you see Transmetal 2 Megatron on the attack on the fleet, stuff like that. It's the nice little touches like that. I have to be reminded that this is even an event book, because it doesn't feel like an event book, even though we have Visionaries in it briefly, but we have them. We have G.I. Joe. They mention Mask, which is probably about as much as you should do when it comes to Mask. Just, they're there. That's fine. Yeah, and I guess that kind of goes to my feelings overall on the book itself. This is such a great way to end this universe, I'd have to say. We already saw what was going to happen with this, with Transformers versus ROM. And we had Barber and Alec and Milne on that as well. And that was a really, really good story. And I thought that was probably going to be one of the best I'd read towards the end of IDW. But no, they're absolutely nailing it with Unicron. It's gone so fast too. I can't believe this is the 5th book. We're already to the last one, which is insane. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be putting a lot in there. And I don't feel like it's going to be crowded. I think it helps that Optimus Prime 25 is the true end to all this. So it's nice that there'll be a little bit of time to decompress. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I could really just gush about this book and repeat a lot of what Amy just said, but she's right. It's really good. We're just getting this great event to end out, what we've been enjoying for, some of us, like you, Charles, 10, 11 years at this point. So yeah. It's really nice.
Yep.
Overall, as far as the idea of IDW coming to an end, my opinion would be far less popular than the opinions of most of or far less popular to most of the listeners of the show, I'd imagine. I only lasted, I think, 7 issues in the Lost Light before I gave up on that. Optimus Prime, I made it through the death of Sideswipe. Spoilers. But the stuff with Slide and the Colonists just got a little too, I don't know, it just wasn't the story I was looking for. So I eventually even fell off of that. So thanks to you guys and Moonbase 2, and whenever they talk about it on like the Twincast, I know what's going on in the universe. I'm interested enough to know what's going on, but each time I hear a synopsis of one of the books, I'm like, I don't really need to read it. It's not really doing much for me. But which is funny because Barbara's writing Optimus Prime, and I'm like, I enjoy hearing about the story, but I don't need to read the story. I will be picking up Optimus Prime 25 though, because I do want to read the final pages for myself. I do want to be able to do that. But yeah, it's just been, ever since the relaunch, it's just been it's been different for me. And I know a lot of people are very upset things are ending. I'm not as upset. I'm okay with it. I'm upset that we're going to, since we have no idea what's happening, and who knows if we will. When I spoke to Anthony from TFU.info after New York Comic Con, the sense he got was that Hasbro hasn't given IDW a direction yet, so they can't even start these books, which is why we haven't gotten any solicitations or anything.
Wow.
So who knows when we'll hear anything. So I hate the fact that we might not have anything for a while. At least we have, and obviously I'm a Star Trek fan, so I'm enjoying Transformers versus Star Trek to tide me through. But, I'm sad that we might, we're for sure losing. As much as I haven't been keen on Lost Light, I'm sad to lose James Roberts, because More Than Meets the Eye is the single greatest comic book series I've ever read in my entire life. I do believe that, despite not liking Lost Light. I do think More Than Meets the Eye was just beyond, I can't even describe how good that was. So I don't know why it seems like such a different book to me now, but it just does. And yeah, I'd hate to. Hopefully, maybe we'll still get something written by Barber but he's so important in IDW now. Who knows? Yeah. And not being able to see Alex Milne anymore. I hope to God he gets something.
I'm crossing my fingers. I'm crossing my fingers. I really am, that everybody that we see will at some point be on the next thing. But you never know. I mean, things change so rapidly. You never know. So.
Right. And if he even went off to do a series I didn't like, I'd probably still read it just because his art is so insane.
Me too. I agree.
So,
I'd be like, okay, whatever he's going on about, I will follow that online and go, I'll go pick that up. Yep.
Yeah, he's definitely an artist I would do that for. So good on you, Alex. Absolutely. So, I don't like the fact that, a lot of people are sad this is ending, but at the same time, I'm interested to see what comes up next. Hopefully we don't have to wait too long, but who knows? But yeah, I mean, for me, I read this book the day it comes out. I'm so excited to read Unicron. I'm enjoying it that much. And again, so sad we only have 1 issue left. And even though I'm sure there's a character or two who's going to kick the bucket, that's going to just kill me, because James Robert has made me cry a few times. Why? Or I guess Barber has too with the sideswipe stuff. But even though I know I'm going to lose a lot of characters I probably adore, I'm ready. I'm going to steel myself. I'm gonna go into it. And I'm going to be strong, Charles. I'm going to make it. I'm going to be okay.
Well, speaking of Sideswipe, we did get there's G2 baby Sideswipe. He makes an appearance here in this book.
Yeah, and I think on the panel where Prime and RC are under the Seekers, I think RC is actually wearing Sideswipe's jetpack.
Oh yeah, she's still wearing it.
Okay.
It was like, a little bit of Sideswipe right there in that panel. Woohoo!
Yeah. So yeah, and I like seeing baby Sideswipe too. That's always. He's developed a lot more since they've shown him last, I think, because I think he was still kind of like a young, whatever they call their young in Triptychon.
Protoform.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Protoform. Yeah. Like I don't remember that from the Bay movies. Yeah, so that's pretty much where I am with that. Enjoying the hell out of this book, and it's the end of an era, but we'll see what comes up once we actually know what's coming up.
Yeah. So I know at the when we were reviewing Optimus Prime 24 last week, in the back of Optimus Prime 24, when they tease the final issues, they do have at the bottom a line of text that says the Transformers will return in 2019. So
yeah,
at some point we will get a new Transformers comic series.
Yeah.
Bumblebee. We've got GoBots to tie. Yeah, well,
the movie Bumblebee book, right? There you go.
That and GoBots by Tom Scioli to tide you over.
That's true. And hey, Scioli does some crazy stuff, but when there's nothing else to read, I will take that. So I will probably be picking that up too. I would imagine.
All right, Deepom, what are your thoughts?
At the risk of being repetitive, first and foremost, I read this comic as like it's doing what it has to do, and that it's setting the table, but it's doing so in a magnificent way, because I'm sure it was already mentioned, but there's so much action packed in these pages. And while, of course, it is the penultimate issue of this larger event, and normally those are kind of quieter issues and kind of getting ready, and we had moments of that with Pensive Prime and RC, but mostly it was kind of cover-to-cover action. It was advancement of different plot lines. You had lots of little wrinkles thrown in, like Thundercracker calling them the Three Amigos, and then the three different Seeker body types, the occasional Firmanism thrown in. And I just really enjoyed kind of the exposition part being discounted by Prowl and by Prime. Is like, we don't actually care where it came from. We just need to know how to kill it. And I really thought that was a nice departure, because from so many comic books, in any narrative kind of activity, you kind of use that time to reestablish the threat. But Prime's like, screw that. No, just tell me where to kill it. I'm going to kill it now. I don't care how it got here. And I think that kind of underscored the threat, because even Starscream's in a self-sacrificial mode. Like, this is truly the end times. And I thought they did a very good job of capturing the larger dread, the sense of dread that was accompanying not just the Cybertronians and the colonists, but the humans as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I also agree. This book was pretty much wall to wall action, and I really enjoyed, as he said, like having the three Seekers meet up at the end. Also, as other guys said, the art in this book was really top notch. Alex has done an amazing job throughout this series. In this book, there's so many different characters with so many different scales. Particularly the last couple of pages where you have the two city bots teleporting in, and then all the other bots coming out, filing out, and attacking. I just think this is a really good next to last issue. So everything kicks off, and then you still don't know what's going to happen in the final issue. I mean, probably Unicron's going to be destroyed, but what'll be the cost? It still feels weird to see like Rhinox and Optimus Primal be bad guys here. How they're like murdering people in Toronto, along with Beast Wars Megatron. So
I actually kind of like that, because it allows the departing creative team to give those nods to the larger continuity, but at the same time tell their story. And while it's not, like we said, in character with how we know them across continuities, I think that finding a place for them in this series was important.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was, the thing is that, I mean, I know that they're different characters than what we've read before, but I kind of, in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, well, they've been thwarted by Unicron. All of these other characters, if they'd been, if they'd been subverted by him too, they'd be doing the same thing. I'm like, yeah, that's true. So this is just what happens when Unicron gets a hold of you.
Or Shockwave.
or Shockwave, yeah, because, he's definitely been helping, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and I can't wait to see Prowl versus Shockwave, that showdown. The two most cold, logical people in the whole universe.
Just
oh,
the
boy.
Spider-Man meme pointing at each other. They both got one eye. I'm serious now. They've effectively turned Prowl into Shockwave.
Oh, wow. There's a connection
Yeah.
we all probably should have made. Good job.
Oh, and particularly I like the one scene where Shockwave has the frowny eye when he's talking about how his plans are. So that's
you think you're not emotional, but you kind of are still.
That's something that Alex specialized in More Than Meets the Eye when he was drawing Whirl a lot. So it's cool to see that return.
Oh, yeah.
Irritation. He's got that prickly irritation. And yet Windblade has defied my expectations. Oh, you're very welcome that the women are representing. Woohoo!
All right, and before we wrap everything up, I do want to mention there is a backup story. So each issue of Unicron has a backup story that kind of wraps up characters from other parts of the Hasbro universe. And so this backup story basically explains why the Visionaries are nowhere to be seen in the final battle with Unicron. So this story is done by the Visionaries creative team, or Transformers versus Visionaries miniseries, I should say. So it's called A World and a Future, written by Magdalene Visaggio, art by Fico Asio, colors by David Garcia Cruz, lettered by Curtis Fandango, which is actually a pseudonym. That's the secret I learned from Tom B. Long's
oh, really? That's awesome.
Nobody comic.
That's cool.
And edited by David Marriott. So, not much to say about this. So apparently the magic from the talisman that sent everybody to Earth transported the Visionaries to the past on their home planet. So they all get to have a fresh start in the past. So have fun there, Visionaries.
Well, based on the time travel we've gotten from this entire kind of larger arc, that where they found ways to tie in Simon Furman's disparate threads to this larger tapestry that Barbara's kind of pieced together beautifully, that means they were always destined to be, which means that they're own ancestors. Like, it's one of those causality loops. It's one of those causality loops that say they would not have been in a position to help if they'd never gotten sent back in the first place.
Yep.
Also, they tell you should have had Shockwave just kind of walk through the background.
Yeah.
They should have, right?
Might be. Just passing through.
I was actually pleasantly surprised by this. I was pleasantly surprised by this because I just recently read Visionaries just to start getting ready for the reading of number 5. And because I had avoided it when I heard the bad news of Cup, and I had my angst and anger over it. And actually, I was kind of surprised because none of the other I haven't really been sucked into any of the other parts of the universe as they've been doing stuff. I mean, I read some of it, but I was like, it's okay. This one, for some reason, just kind of really hit me. I really kind of liked it, and I'm kind of sad to see it go. I really liked what Magdalene what she had set up here, and I'm kind of like, oh, wow, okay. So I got to the end of this one, I went, I kind of want to read more. I'm kind of sad that this is it. We aren't going to get anything else. And I thought, I really want to read more of that. Kudos to them that they've found a way to kind of hook me in somehow. And I'm just like, okay, all right. If they come out with another book, I will definitely be picking that up, just because I really like the fact that they found a way to hook me in with it. And I'm like, okay, all right. Just don't kill any more of my favorite characters and I'll be all right.
Yeah, that was a book by a good writer that was hampered by a editorial mandate.
Yeah, I know. I read about that.
And also, Yeah, and also Hasbro telling everyone, especially Yoshi, to make sure you check out Visionaries versus Transformers #5. It'll blow your mind, and nothing really happens. So but it's not. Yeah, it wasn't her fault. She wrote a good book. It was. I don't know what Hasbro was thinking with that one.
I've got my opinions on how that went.
Yep.
Yeah, I tweeted about it. I think that's enough.
All right. So, so the final thing is that we do get interviews from the new artists on Lost Light and Optimus Prime. So they've been doing interviews with the creators at the end of each book. So we have Jack Lawrence and a Kei Zama interview, which I think these are nice to have as a farewell in each issue. So that's cool.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of new information, but
I haven't read them yet. They're going to make me cry.
Well, I'll say this. There's not a huge amount of new information in there. And you're right, probably going to tug at the heartstrings some. But moreover, it makes it feel like IDW recognizes kind of what they achieved. Charles, you and I talked about it on my show. Kind of, if you take a step back, this is one of those super long-running continuities that you realize is just kind of a big benchmark for the Transformers franchise. And by them even giving us these interviews, it lets us know that IDW at least on some level knows what they had and what they've done and kind of tooting their own horn, as well they should.
Yeah,
agreed.
Definitely.
Agreed. I eventually will sit down probably at the very end when I'm like really emotional and I'll read it and I'll just sob through everything, even the stuff that's like, oh yeah, I just had fun doing this. And like, yeah, but it was so much fun. Sorry. Like I said, I'm very sentimental about all of these right now, and ending is just I'm just being sentimental. What can I say?
All right. Well, I think that'll do it for Unicron #5. We're quickly coming to the end of the IDW universe, so yeah, crossing fingers. The next 3 weeks will be the next three, the final 3 issues. So we'll have Lost Light 25, then Unicron #6, then Optimus Prime 25, and that will be the end. All right, so let's move on to some Transformers media news. So in media news, we've got some information on the trading card games. So the Transformers trading card game. I don't know if you guys have been picking up some of these things. I picked up a few cards. They look cool. The character cards are really good art, really interesting. And if you're in Australia, they have finally released a trading card game in Australia. So if you want to get the starter set, you can pick that up there. They've been out in the US for a little while, so you should be finding them. I think Target is usually a good place to find them.
Yep.
Gotcha. Cool.
Also, we've got information about a new starter set that's coming out in November, and this is the Metroplex starter deck. This comes with a Titan-sized character card for Metroplex, in addition to the three new character cards for the kind of bots that come with the Metroplex City. So that's Scamper, Slammer, and Six Gun. And then also with 40 battle cards. With 3 cards that are not in the Wave 1 booster packs. So this will be out. This release. This has been moved. It had its release date moved up to November 16th. So hopefully you'll get a lot of these in stores for Black Friday, since that's the week before Thanksgiving. And this has all the artwork on these cards that are done by Marcelo Mater, who's he's done a lot of Transformers packaging art and some comic art too.
Which means
so
it'll
the comics
be really
are still
pretty.
getting pushed.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I was just going to say, so the comics are still getting pushed back, but the trading card game, that comes out early.
I guess November is the month to be able to get stuff. I mean, yeah, it just seems the magical moment, right?
Well, the trading card game isn't distributed by Diamond, so...
Oh, very true.
That explains a lot.
Yep.
Have you guys picked up any of the cards yet?
I haven't, but I've been watching other people as they pick stuff up and tweet about it online, and I've been like, hey, I should probably jump in and do that. Do they come in like a really big pack so you can just like, hey, you get a bunch of them all at once, or you just have to go into the store and see what they got?
There's a starter pack.
Okay.
Yeah, the starter pack is good for 2 people. So there's enough cards to divvy up between 2 people. And then if you get some booster packs, then you get some extra stuff. I had gotten a starter pack, but I have no one around me I'm ever going to play it with. Or, unless and I guess it was actually quite popular at TFCon this weekend. But again, I wasn't there, so I couldn't play it then. So I've actually taken it back because... And my son he'll be 4 in January, so he's not quite old enough to learn. And even if he did learn, I don't know if he'd have the patience for it at this age.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, as much as I would have loved to have hung on to it, between that and the booster packs, it was 30 or $40. I was like, yeah, I guess I could probably use this for other stuff right now. Not that I wouldn't pick it up in the future maybe, but unfortunately for now, I had to kind of give up on what I had, and maybe in the future I'll be able to pick it back up.
Yeah.
If your son is too young for the card game, I think I'm too old to understand it. I know there's numbers, and
that too.
I didn't.
I have to learn it myself.
I wasn't introduced early, and I do believe that as I get older, my capacity to learn new things is just completely atrophying. So I'm going to go ahead and hold on to the tiny brain space that's left and not play the card game.
Oh man, I thought I was the only one having that problem. So lots of validation on this podcast today.
All right, well, let's move on to some bits of Bumblebee movie news. Nothing too earth-shattering, but we did have Hasbro had their 2018 third quarter investor call. So Brian Goldner, the CEO of Hasbro, talked a little bit about them getting excited and getting ready for the Bumblebee movie that's in theaters this December. So, they just talked about having all their product ready. And, they're talking about how the Bumblebee movie is now positioned for all their audiences. It says, he said, promises to be our most all family, all audience, dual gender film ever. So,
okay.
All right.
They're really selling it good there, right there. Yep.
So they're
bringing the family in, right?
they want to make good movies, which I appreciate. After 5 bad movies, we'll hopefully see a good movie.
I am so hoping for a PG rating.
That would be good if they gave it a PG rating. That would be kind of fun.
I can take my son.
Yeah. I'm kind of looking forward to not having any really crappy jokes, like the immature, dogs peeing on things, and because it just. So I kind of hope also on top of that we get something that actually, I don't know, come out of the movie with a feel good message than, kill them all, give me your face.
This is the part of the podcast where I realize I've been lured into a trap, because anyone who follows me knows that this movie's been a point of large amount of consternation on my part, and Charles has done nothing to help that in the last few weeks. I'm not going to say I'm going to see it. I refuse to commit, but when I see it, because I know I'm going to see it, I don't expect to. No one asked me, because I'm not ready to admit that I'm going to see it. But
I'm definitely going to go see it. I saw all the other movies too, so I'm definitely going to commit and say I'm going to go see this. But if they don't make it really good,
this time it will be different. I refuse to publicly say.
I hope, because it's a new director, man.
I believe it was Cyclones who told us hope is a lie, never hope. So I just want to make sure we all come from that same place. And I just want to make something very clear. I didn't see the last two. They put Optimus Prime on Grimlock in the marketing material, and I still didn't see it. So if there's one way for me,
that was the.
Go ahead.
That was the best part of that movie, to be honest.
I'll never know. I'll never know. And the fact that I'm waffling on this new one should tell everyone. Just, I guess, at least maybe hope isn't a lie. But I know it. I'm so hurt by this movie existing. It shouldn't be presented in a way that makes you want to see it.
This is the reason why I want to go see Bumblebee, because I picked up Kubo and the Two Strings and I watched it and went, okay, this director knows what he's doing. So I'm crossing my fingers. If it was Bay again, I probably wouldn't go see it either. I'd be like, no, this is the first time where I can say, I've wised up. I'm sorry, not doing that. But, I just have such a really good feeling about it.
This franchise will ruin things you love. Leonard Nimoy was ruined by this franchise.
Yeah.
Like I saw people in the two strings as well, and you're right. In a vacuum, I would say this is going to be great, but it's not a vacuum. It's not.
Yeah.
John Cena.
Still trying
John
to figure out
Cena's
whether
involved.
it's a prequel.
John Cena's involved. Oh, don't do a timeline thing. I would abandon all hope for a timeline. I think asking for a timeline is asking a lot. Let's get out in an hour and 40 minutes and nobody be traumatized. Mostly,
Yep.
I'm talking about me, not children.
I don't care about timeline continuity, anything. I just want the movie to be good. I mean, they can say this movie is a prequel to the other bad ones, or they can say it's a start of a whole new series. And you know, I don't care as long.
Charles, you have to define what good is, though, because that means a lot of different things to other people, obviously. Because it's sad that we're in a situation where we have to define what good is, because good could be, hey, it's successful, it makes a lot of money, because that's exactly what investors are looking forward to with the Bumblebee movie, right? Because if they it's being good sounds, the standard of goodness is different for whoever's invested in this. Now, most fans, and I think most people out there, want to have a character story that gives them, where the characters are real, they're not just chess pieces moving around, and there's a moral, or maybe there's like, hey, they have to learn something about themselves and grow a little bit in the movie, and maybe fit into a little bit of continuity, and maybe surprise us just a little bit. That's what we're looking for with good.
I will take that definition, Amy. That's a great definition. Gotcha. I will use that. That's everything that I would like to see in a Transformers movie. So,
I mean, I don't want to come out of the movie and say, okay, I'm throwing all of my figures away.
If you do, I'll just send you my address. So just send them on down. That'll be easier.
All right. Another slightly movie-related topic. So we've got Lorenzo de Bonaventura, the producer on all the Transformers live-action movies. He's going to do a fireside chat on November 15th at the VRTL Media Summit.
Oh, nice.
So if you've got a spare $900, you can go see that.
Yeah. I don't have a spare $900.
That's only if you register before November 5th. If it's after November 5th, it's $1,500. So,
ouch.
This is looks like it's.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Charles. Sorry.
I was gonna say, looks like it's mostly for movie insiders, I guess.
Yeah, this is very much an industry thing. It's not even if you had the money, they'd probably be like, "Why are you here?"
I'm a fan of Transformers, and I deserve to be here.
And this man has hurt me repeatedly.
All right, security.
All right, and switching gears, we've got some information on Transformers Cyberverse, the new cartoon that started this fall. First up, to folks in the UK, if you haven't already torrented it or downloaded it illegally, you can watch Cyberverse starting October 27th. So probably you've already seen the first episode. Yeah, because that's yesterday has recorded this episode, and last week when this episode goes up. So you can look forward to that. So looks like at least the first two episodes have already been out. Maybe they're going to air 2 a week in the UK, like they are in Canada. In the US, we're still getting drip feed once a week, but they all go up on YouTube the day after they're on Cartoon Network. So yeah, that's nice for people who don't have cable or don't watch Cartoon Network. I am a fan of this show so far. I think the show's had a strong opening. I don't like the 15-minute format, but I think that's just the way the cartoon industry is going. Like, all the new shows seem to be doing a 15-minute format rather than half hour.
It's all of those attention spans just shortening, getting shorter and shorter.
But it looks like the folks behind the cartoon are Boulder Media, which is a studio that's based in Ireland, and it looks like they are fans of the IDW comic, because they are bringing a lot of lore from the IDW comic into this show. So if you are a fan of the IDW comics, you might want to check this out. So, D-Palm, I know you haven't had a chance yet, but there's some homework for you. It's all on YouTube, so if you want to check it out,
that's exactly what I need. More Transformers in my life. This is good. Thank you.
I also saw mine on Daily Motion as well. I've been watching it that way.
This is going to continue to make me fun to sit next to in public. Awesome. Have you read more than
the kids? You'll be a hit.
Yeah, it's just.
And yeah, as I just said, the next episode, so episode 9, just aired in the U.S. Last weekend, and that's now on YouTube. So we'll have a link to that in the show notes if you want to check it out. And that post on TFW 2005 links to all the previous episodes too. So it's right there for you. All right, so that's all the media news. So let's go on to some transforming pop culture.
Woohoo!
All right, so I don't know if you guys remember back in the 80s how Transformers were merchandised to hell and back. I mean, you had Transformers everything, not just lunchboxes and coloring books. You had bed sheets, you had radios, you had clocks, and we're getting back to that level in the modern era. And with the Bumblebee movie coming out, they're doing a big push for new product. So just a couple of things here that we found. First, the Villy Custom Transformers Bumblebee, the movie bike. It's an $800 bike that's yellow with an Autobot logo on it. I guess if you're really into merchandise, Transformers merchandise, you can pick this up. I'd say just get a regular bike that's not $800. That's pretty expensive.
Yeah, that's a really yellow bike. I mean, you might as well just go out and buy a bike and just spray paint it yellow, and you probably get the exact same thing. You know, get a used bike on Craigslist or something and just spray paint it all yellow, banana color yellow. And if you want, you know, see if you can figure out if maybe it was a Repo Labels makes a Autobot logo big enough to put on it. There you go.
Oh yeah, you can find one from them for that. I was looking at this earlier, and my son walked over, and I said, "Hey, look at this bike." And he saw Bumblebee beside, and looked at the bike. He goes, "Dad, Bumblebee's a car. Like, I know he's a car, but this is a Bumblebee bike." And he just looked at me like, "You're an idiot, Dad," and walked away, which is a normal look from him. I'll be honest about that, but
you're raising a smart kid, Jason.
I really am.
This is when you're like, "Hey, sweetheart, you know, when you are 16 and you want your first car, we'll go find a Bumblebee car for you, okay?"
Yeah, that's right.
And another product, if you're not interested in the Bumblebee bike, we've got Bumblebee shoes from Puma. Does anybody still wear Pumas? Or that's still a popular brand?
Good question.
I remember Pumas from the 80s and maybe early 90s, but yeah, I didn't think those are still popular with the kids. But here you can have some bright yellow Bumblebee Pumas with an Autobot symbol.
Well, the kid that's modeling them in the pictures is not a little kid, so I'm like going, "Hey, if you're an adult and you want to get a pair of shoes like this, just saying."
Well, that's the thing now, is that sneaker culture is so big, and I don't know if anyone knows about what Adidas is doing, where they're releasing these, I think it's 8 Dragon Ball Z shoes. These aren't going to kids. Like this is a whole market that's starting, and the fact that Puma, at least, you know, reached out to Hasbro or Transformers and said, "We want to collab with you," speaks to the strength of the brand, and maybe, just maybe, we can parlay this Puma deal into something, you know, people actually want to wear, like Reebok or Nike.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, I don't know if Puma sponsors the show. If so, I was just kidding. I love Pumas.
I was sorry, Charles.
No, I was going to say, I wish Puma sponsored the show.
Well, I'm not going to say we should wait out for the Nike money, but if Puma money wants to come to this podcast, or mine, you know, at DPalm66 on Twitter, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll do a review of the shoes if they send me free copy. Yeah, you bet, man. I'll wear it. I'll wear it everywhere. I'll go to every convention I can find. Say, "Guys, you got to get these cool shoes."
How about some pod edition Pumas? Let's talk Puma. I'm just saying.
My co-host David is a shoe collector, so I was like, so So how much are licensed shoes from Puma? He goes, they don't do a lot of licensed shoes, but I guess Vans and Disney just recently had a thing going and they were like 80 to 100. I was like, well, I'm not going to pay 80 to 100, but if these are like 60, I like the Prime ones. My son picked the Bumblebee ones over the Prime ones just to keep the thread of what he decided going in the show.
Well, I know that the Vans, the Captain Marvel ones they put out, they retailed at 100, but on resale, it was going up to $300 and $400 to find a pair. Yeah,
Wow.
they're going to make a lot of money with Captain Marvel.
Yeah, these Optimus Prime ones do look better than the Bumblebee ones, I gotta say. So I
like them
disagree
both.
with your kid on that one.
Yeah, I like them both. I would go with either. If I was going to pick a pair up, I'd be like, I don't know. I'm digging yellow nowadays. I don't know why.
I'm too old for designer shoes, I think. But
Yeah.
All right, so let's finish up the show with some convention news. All right, so just one little news item. We've got Hasbro and 20th Century Fox are going to Luca Comics and Games 2018. So this is an Italian show. This is happening this weekend. So by the time this show goes up, it'll be this weekend. And there's going to be, so from October 31st to November 4th. And on Saturday, November 3rd at 11:30 a.m., they're going to have a screening of exclusive Bumblebee footage. Now, I thought the Bumblebee movie was being done by Paramount, but I guess Fox is distributing it in Italy. I guess.
Probably.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, they do stuff like that. Paramount would be the U.S. distributor, and Fox would do it elsewhere. These deals for these kind of things can be, and who knows who puts out like Asian stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
Well, I hope they get a lot of good, screen time because when I went to go see the Transformers, the 86 movie on the big screen, they did a little 2-minute screening of part of the movie too. So I'm like going, okay, I wonder if they're going to show them the same one. Because if they do, I'm like, oh, well, enjoy it. It's fine.
It'll probably be in Italian, so
Yeah. I was
guess
impressed.
We'll see if it makes it onto the internet after this convention. But.
Yeah. That'd be kind of nice if they did that,
yeah.
Some more teaser stuff, please.
No more teaser stuff. I'm already torn enough about this movie. Existential crisis over here.
All right, so I think that brings us to the end of Transmissions Alt Mode. So I want to thank everyone for listening and my illustrious guest hosts for coming on and helping me out this week. Again, let's make sure everyone knows where they can find you on the internet. So, Jason, start with you. What do you want to plug?
Sure. Well, you can always find me on Twitter. I'm at Jason S. Kirk. I'm also on Instagram, but I almost never post anything there. I should. I'm a stupid. I should do that more often. And like I alluded to earlier, Pavocacy, while still technically a thing, it's kind of been moved aside a little bit as we do our new thing, which is Wrestling on the Edge of Forever, which, like I said, I give David a Star Trek episode. He gives me some wrestling. We come together at the end and we have some questions. Episode 1 just dropped a few days before this episode. So if you search on iTunes or any place you get podcasts, you'll be able to find us. And all the shows we put out, you can also find at pavocacy.com. So I am technically still a Pavocate. Charles was correct at the beginning of the show to call me that. And also, of course, hey, listen to Radio Free Cybertron if I can throw a little bone their way. And anytime There Goes My Money, you'll find me there too.
Sweet.
All right. Thank you, Jason. It's been a little rough for me. Everyone's been telling me how wrong I am. So it's nice to still be correct once in a while.
Charles, I will throw you this one bone. You gave me the right label tonight. Good job.
All right, Amy, where can people find you?
Well, I'm not around often anymore. I don't do podcasts except the occasional one-off every once in a while, like this one. Yay! So I there are so many really great Transformers podcasts out there. Whichever one you listen to, please go listen to it because everybody that it's a work of love. So have fun. But yes, most of the time you can just find me on Twitter. I'm at Lady of Rec at Twitter. And that's pretty much where I'm at. If I do any change or start doing a podcast somewhere and if anybody wants to follow, I usually tweet it out there. So that's pretty much me. That's where I'm at on Twitter.
All right. Thanks. And D-Palm, tell them where you're at.
You can find me on Twitter and across all social media at DPalm66 because hashtag synergy. As I mentioned earlier, I host way too many podcasts over NTR Network. That includes our Super Tuesday recaps of Arrow, The Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow. When Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back, we're doing that as well. Our Daredevil review will be recorded in the next week or so make sure you go premium to get your hands on that when it drops. I also host our Character Corner podcast where we do deep dives on your favorite characters and favorite comic book runs, including More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light. And lastly, I host our Unanimous Decision podcast, our sports show on the NTR Network. All these shows are available at iTunes, everywhere you get podcasts for free, and also on Spotify. Just search NTR Network and see everything that we have.
All right, and I will make sure to put links to all that good stuff in the show notes for this episode. So if you're listening, click over to the website and check out the show notes. You can get links to all the stuff that D-Palm, Amy, and Jason mentioned. So again, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you, dear listener, for sticking with us, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
We'll see ya.
Bye, everyone.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
All right, yes.
We did it. Woohoo!
And then, Jason, I put you at the end, so I guess you get the honor of saying, let's talk Transformers.
Oh, nice. I feel so honored. It's like a dream come true. Oh, God, Craig.
Wow. Okay. I'm very impressed. It's like, holy cow. You got your own C-3PO here.
I'm glad you're impressed because the rest of us are scared shitless.
Is it supposed to do that?
Yeah, that's really loud, Amy.
Oh, that's right. You heard all of my typing, right? Woo. Okay.
Yes.
Damn, this mic is really sensitive.
We'll just go. We're not going to worry about it. Mike's got the editing skills. He can probably
He'll make the magic. He's Scotty. He will make it work.
Mike is a master. He will make it work beautifully. And I said that just so he puts that in the outtakes.
Mike is all this hype. That's a lot of hype for Mike.
It's a high bar to, yeah.
He has shown his ability to meet the hype over and over again.
I'm just saying, I'm not Mike. I'm just saying the weight of expectations would crush me.
It takes a special man.
Well, Mike was a listener of the show who then stepped forward to volunteer to edit the show for us. So
yeah, nice.
Mike deserves all the props he gets. Oh, did we lose D-Palm?
Oh yeah, he's gone.
Oh no,
D-Palm, where'd you go? Oh, let me see if he is he. Oh, his computer just died. Oh no.
Oh poop.
Yeah,
editing's gonna be fun.
Oh.
Hi, Mike.